Game number 2 out of a maximum possible 12 in India's lead-in period to the ODI World Cup, and they've rung in the changes. They are into trial and error mode. Rohit Sharma is not the captain. Hardik Pandya is leading India in an ODI for the first time. Virat Kohli too will not feature. The two men who featured at 7 and 8 in the batting lineup in that limited chase of 115 in the first ODI will now not feature in the side as India give a game to Sanju Samson. They bring Akshar Patel in. So that gives us a lot to talk about as we build up to the second ODI between West Indies and India, also in Bridgetown in Barbados. It's a good evening to Wasim Jaffer. Thank you as always for your time, Wasim. Interesting changes. What do you make of it?
Well, first of all, I think those two senior guys obviously, want to rest. So gives an opportunity to Sanju, which we have been talking about for so much time. And obviously Akshar comes in, which is a good news for those two guys because I think they need to be looked at. Uh, Obviously, those two guys we would want them to play. Obviously, the captain and Virat, they bat top of the order. This batting lineup looks a little light, but against this opposition, it shouldn't be a problem. But the guys who are playing, they get a good game time. So I'm not that concerned that Virat and Rohit are not playing. Probably because it's West Indies. It's obviously it's not a very tough opposition. So I understand that and gives an opportunity to the Hardik as well. I'm guessing he's batting at number 4 probably, and Surya might come in at number 5. So yeah, I'm okay with that.
Given the last game, I laud the bravery because I feel like it's very hard to predict the Indian batting lineup given all the changes they have in their mind. But just before we come to the changes, Wasim, now it was known even when you named the squad what the quality of the opposition is, where West Indies are. So is there merit in thinking that you could have rested Rohit and Virat from the onset itself, knowing that you can try out the others then?
You could have, yeah. I mean, this is probably India. I'm guessing should be able to win this one, even with this team. And yeah, I mean, obviously they batted at 7 and 8. Didn't play this game, so they haven't played any major role in this series. So yeah, we could have probably tried a youngster or given him an opportunity. Probably Yashasvi Jaiswal, probably Ruturaj Gaikwad had a game time, and you would have come to know how those guys do in these conditions. But yeah, I mean this is how they want to go. So be it.
Yes, and that means chances, but also important to point out that India will be batting first this time. West Indies did win the toss. They've elected to bowl. There was a little bit of rain around just in the lead up to this game. And from the conditions you saw from the first game, initial bounce and then so much turn, you'd expect this to be a much more challenging surface for batters, Wasim?
I think it will be probably have a little bit more moisture, so the seamers might get a little bit more help, and I'm expecting the spin also to be there. So it's going to be challenging for the batters, and I hope Indian batters obviously, will play better compared to West Indies how they batted in the first game. But yeah, I mean they need to stick it out. It's not a very high scoring. It doesn't look like a very high scoring pitch, but still they need to play out tough because those two spinners looked all right when they bowled in that short game, and if their faster bowlers bowled well, they can give you tough time. So yeah, India need to bat well, and the youngsters who are on the show, they need to grab the opportunity.
Yes, and in terms of grabbing the opportunity, the irony is some people might say they're not necessarily the youngest, who are the two who the most amount of interest is around because they have been around a while, either touching 30 or above it. So let's talk about them. The internet, I'm sure, I haven't checked yet, but it must be bursting at its seams already because Sanju Samson gets a game. Similarly for Surya Kumar Yadav, okay, let's take you through that playing 11 before we go there. Sanju Samson, as you can see, slots in, as does Akshar Patel. The two men out are Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli. Yes, who would have thought India in an ODI where both of them don't feature, but that is the function of the times you're in the lead-up period to the World Cup. So it's a very interesting mix because you also see India have 7 bowling options because 3 seamers who played in the last game, plus Hardik Pandya, and then Akshar Patel joining up with Jadeja and Kuldeep, who were the destroyers in chief in game one, both of them taking 7 wickets between them. Coming back, Wasim, Sanju Samson, so much always discussed about whether he should play, whether he shouldn't play. For both him and Surya Kumar Yadav, this is, you can look at this almost as last chance salon. If you have to make a mark for the World Cup, this game, the next game, you have to grab this opportunity.
It is, and I'm guessing KL Rahul will be available in the Asia Cup, so he obviously comes in. So, like you said, Sanju Samson has this opportunity, and he has to make the most of it. He's a quality player, and in the recent ODIs, he's done well. He's not the old Sanju Samson. He's taken the responsibility. He's built his innings and he scored well, and I expect him to do that here as well. And he's a good player. If he comes good, he's gonna give headaches to the selectors. But yeah, I'm guessing he's gonna bat at number three, so he'll get an opportunity. I just hope that he converts into a big score and put his name in the fray for the selectors to do the needful.
Yeah, he is carded at number three as per the team sheet, and quietly impressive in those ODIs that he played over the last year when he finally got a consistent run because India were fielding second string sides in ODIs with T20s given the preference. Now, everything that we see and we dissect so much about Sanju Samson's game in the IPL, where at times it can be frustrating how eye catching those 30s are, but he very rarely converts them into the big scores. What would you want him to temper in terms of his approach? How would you want to see him bat on a technical note, given the conditions and given the enormity of the chance on offer?
I think you just need to avoid, too many risky shots. That's what happens, when he bats well, he takes very high risk option in the IPL. I'm talking about, but that's the nature of the game. Even there, sometimes I feel he can take his time and play a less risky options. Uh, but in one day cricket, obviously, you've got a lot more time. And the quality that he possesses, he doesn't need to, hit so many balls in the air or take that high risk options. If he does that, I'm pretty sure he's got the game to succeed in the ODIs also. So that's the only thing I'm expecting him to do. That play less risky game, and get to 50, 60, 70 first. Around 80, 90, 100 strike rate, and then he can explode. He's got that game, we all know. But in ODIs, you don't need to play very high risk game like he does in ODIs. So that's the only challenge I think he need to face himself and tell himself that yeah, I can score runs, taking less risky game, and I'm sure if he does that, he has a game to succeed.
The other change, as you can see on the screen, is Akshar Patel coming in, and I'm sure that is one that pleases you because you have told us already that that's a player you do see very much featuring in India's World Cup plans. I'm not sure how much bowling he'll get to do in a bowling side which has seven bowlers, but there's a good chance of him batting high up because you look at that batting lineup, there are four pure batters, and you're into the all rounders after that with Hardik and Ravindra Jadeja and Akshar and Shardul, who can all bat. So on the batting front, would it be, since this is now into that trying mode, is there merit in perhaps an Akshar batting above Jadeja so that you can find out something new?
I don't mind him batting at even five after Hardik Pandya. I'll probably put Hardik at four, and if things go well, I'll put Akshar at five, and put Surya Kumar Yadav and Ravindra Jadeja at six and seven. And I see that happening because in the World Cup, in the top four, the team that we are going to play, there's no left-hander there. So Akshar could be that guy who can be floated in that number. So if we are trying things, I don't mind trying Akshar at number five today also.
That could be interesting. Just a small word, since there are so many of these players we're speaking about, a Samson, an Akshar, a Surya, so many of the bowlers. Uh, a word on a player's mindset at this period where you're not even regulars in the team, but all of a sudden the scale of what you are looking at, not just in this game, but the longer run, that you are aiming to crack a World Cup squad, which is such a dream. So, how much does that play on a player's mind?
It does play very heavily because, like I said, there are players who are waiting, who are injured, and when they get fit, they'll straight away come into the side. For example, Bumrah, Shreyash, KL, they automatically come in. So there is very limited, space in that 15-member squad. So you want to give your best in this kind of game because if you do well, you are expected to do well. But if you fail against this opposition, then obviously it hurts your chances even more. So every game is like a litmus test for everyone. I mean, whoever is not sure of his position, somebody like we have spoke, Aksar, uh, Surya Kumar Yadav to Sanju Samson, even Ishan Kishan for that matter, he's done well in the first ODI. But everyone, whoever is there, Umran Malik, so every opportunity is like a gold for them. So they want to put their case forward with good performances.
Yes, and a lot of the rating of these performances will also hinge on if a better West Indies can show up. Certainly, a much better one that presented itself in the first ODI. They too have made a couple of changes. Let's take you through the West Indian playing 11, with which does not feature Robman Powell and out goes Dominic Drakes too, who featured in Game 1, and Alzari Joseph slots in place of Drakes, and Kesey Carty replaces Robman Powell in the batting department. Robman Powell has had his struggles against spin, and given that India now have three spinners, West Indies probably hoping for Carty to do the job. Wasim, an outline, if you may, for West Indies, how they could compete a bit more in this game?
Well, first of all, they need to restrict India to a decent total. I thought the bowlers have something and with Rohit and Virat not playing today, they'll see an opportunity. And if there's a little bit of help to the fast bowlers, and obviously, like I said, there are a couple of spinners bowl decently. So the first thing they need to do is restrict India to a decent total, and then obviously their batters need to stand up. Seven India have got seven bowling options. So obviously, they'll face a lot of spin. The fast bowlers will test them, but they just need to take responsibility and then take the game deep. So I mean, it all depends on the first half, how the first half goes. If India runs away with the first half, then it looks very difficult for West Indies. But if it's a chaseable total, I expect West Indies to stand up and make a fight of it.
All right. The only prediction I'm asking for is an estimate on our closing time for this game.
I'm guessing around 1:30 to 2 o'clock.
All right. Yeah, you'd imagine this one goes longer, and Indian fans surely are hoping this one goes longer than the previous one, which wrapped up in 45.5 overs. Either which way, Wasim, I look forward to your company at the end of the game, and you can catch Wasim's thoughts if you're up till night, you can catch it on the ESPN Cricket 4 website and mobile app. Otherwise, wake up in the morning to see what Wasim had to say about the second game. Lots to talk about, and a lot of pieces will be up on the site as well around India's changes and how they fared. So keep an eye out, and we will see you very soon on ESPN Cricket 4 Match Day.